So the year is 2045. In the last episode, we saw Israel form a colony down here. We saw the Arabs expand their colony over here. We saw the Kanzak form between Canada, the UK, Australia, and New Zealand, forming a new colonial group, kind of like the EU, so each country is still independent. And we saw a whole bunch of treaties that carved up basically just all the inside parts of Mars. So there's a big central area here that wasn't claimed, and all the countries here divided up. We saw the large expansion of the yellow country, the Martian Republic, and we saw the independence of these two countries down here. So with that said, let's get started for the day. The very first thing we're going to do today is actually concerning these independent countries here on Mars. That's because now we're adding a new element to the Martian map, and that is alliances. The Martian Republic is very anti-colonialism. They do not like America in particular, but as well as Japan, the EU, and India, mostly just because they've taken land from them. They supplied the rebels in the American colony against the Korean rebels and these other Chinese rebels who now form their own countries. And just to kind of support their sovereignty on Mars, the yellow team will create the Square Team Alliance, and that will be between them, the brown team, and the pink team. They actually do invite this other country up here, and they decline. They're on good terms with the other Earth countries, and they see no need to abandon them, so they won't be joining. They're also kind of far away from them. So for now, it'll be just these three countries. And next, I'm also adding a new thing to this series, and that is this. If you don't know what this is, that's perfectly fine, but this is one of Mars's moons, Phobos. It is the largest moon, and it's actually closest to the planet too. The yellow team is very anti-colonialism, right? They despise many of the colonial powers on the planet. They do not like them. They do not want them there. And so they see it as the only way to compete with them in power is to start their own colonies. So now the yellow team isn't going to start a colony on Earth, because that would just be kind of weird. But they're actually going to start a colony on Phobos, Mars's moon. And they're going to set up a colony on it. And the Earth countries likely already use it kind of as a base, but nobody claims it yet. And they're actually going to claim a massive area of it. Keep in mind, it's just a tiny asteroid, so it's not that large anyways. And they claim a massive area like this. Their main base will be right there. And then they have a couple other settlements just kind of scattered around. Mostly just mining settlements. And they have military bases here, which is definitely an interesting thing, because this is the first time we've seen a Martian country set up a colony, obviously, because they were just formed. They also have research bases. I don't know if you guys really care about these at all, but they want to be able to compete with the Earth countries in terms of power, scientific prestige, all that sort of thing. So they're setting up their colony there in order to compete with them. And continuing on Mars, I don't know if you guys remember, I'm sure you do, but the Russian colony that was annexed by the United States after World War III was feeling very rebellious as the Koreans rebelled, but they just didn't have enough power to. But after seeing how a lot of the US's allies reacted to the Korean rebellion, and basically just telling them to give them independence, the Russians now feel it is time for them to also rebel. So that's what they're going to do. This entire part of the colony is overrun by rebels, and same with these cities here. And basically, the US is just like, fine, have your independence. The US is so weakened, especially the Martian colony, the US is basically just abandoned it after World War III. They don't want a lot to do with it. A lot of the people back on Earth rioting and protesting against colonizing, they're very much against it. And a lot of the other countries, like the smaller countries in the world, like maybe Brazil or Algeria or even South Africa, a lot of them are pro-colonization because they want to show that their country is powerful, right? But a lot of the countries that have already been colonizing for a while, so France, India, Pakistan. Actually, Pakistan is more pro-colonialism right now just because of India occupying their colony. And it's not going too well for India, but stick around to the end because that's going to change, trust me. But a lot of countries are just not liking colonialism right now, but some of them are, which is important to note for this era. So the US will actually grant independence to the Russian colonists, and their colony looks something like that. They're actually going to expand a little bit, claiming some more land along the trade routes, but nothing much. They also expand down here. And you know what's interesting is the yellow team and the brown team were funding this purple team up here, the Russian team. They were funding them in the rebellion against the US, even though it wasn't very long. I think it's pretty obvious already that the Russians are going to join in the Square Alliance. I'll put their square up here. Their capital city would be this one right here. That was the capital of the Russian base, so it just makes sense. Now moving down here to the Arab colony, they decide that it's time that they build some trade routes along their colony, just because it's kind of necessary. But the interesting thing is they don't build out this way to connect up with Japan or the EU or anything. They build up from their capital city and then link up with the Russians. These aren't this isn't Russia from Earth, but it's the Russians' old colony, so it's Russians that live there. I don't know. I'm gonna call it Russia. I don't know. They actually do build a route out this way, so I kind of lied there. But this one here was first. And they weren't building that with the US beforehand. They just built that with them. Anyway, some of the Americans down in this colony are also kind of wanting independence, but they're not going to do that right now. But that's just important to remember for now. And before we continue, I want to show you guys what I'm wearing. AtlasBird hoodie. I don't have merch. I just got this because it was like, oh, that's cool. And it was like $15 or something. So it was pretty cheap. So, I mean, it's actually really nice too. It's nice and comfy. I mean, it is like 30 degrees outside. So it's not sweater weather. I don't know. But it's really nice. It's got the logo. It says AtlasBird. So I could do merch if you guys want merch. Maybe at 5,000 subscribers, do a limited edition. But I don't know if you guys want that. But yeah, I mean, that. I'll be wearing this for the Badlands series. It's coming up here in a couple weeks. 2 weeks, I think. So it's going to be good, guys. I hope you're excited for that. Make sure you're subscribed. Yeah. We're going back to this map here. And the war continues between India, Pakistan, and China. And of course, India's military alliance against China. It is important to remember that China and Pakistan don't see these countries over here as much of a threat at all. But now that South Korea has joined the war, that's probably going to change. But they were basically sending their entire military into India. They wanted just to finish this war super quickly. And that's kind of what they're doing. But now that South Korea has joined and they're going well into Chinese territory, even capturing a major city and pushing it right up against this river, they obviously don't want to lose their capital city. Kim Jong-un and Xi Jinping are both hiding there because, again, North Korea was taken over. But it's really not looking good for China. Bangladesh, who joined this hoping to get some land, is now being heavily pushed back, even losing land in their own country. Thailand and the Philippines are really carrying this group down here, but they basically just kick out all of Bangladesh because I don't know if Bangladesh is really a country. I know they have a ton of people, like 100 something million, but how capable their military is. But I would think that Thailand, the Philippines, and some of India would beat them. Plus Vietnam, Malaysia, and all that. So now that China's capital is in danger, and they're losing land down here because Vietnam is going crazy, even reaching over to Hong Kong, taking them over. So they're probably going to get independence now if they win. China has to pull some troops out of here, which allows for India to recapture this major city and even their capital city. This is a huge blow to China, who were just celebrating that they captured those cities, but they're now being pushed back. And now, looking like the fall of China is imminent, we actually see Japan join this war on the side of the blue team. Not looking good for China. China is extremely disorganized right now. We weren't expecting any other attacks. And we now actually see a rebellion in Manchuria, and this entire region falls over the blue team. Eventually, we also see the Tibetans rise up and demand their independence, and the northeastern province of China as well. Xinjiang, I think is what it's called. So I know China isn't doing very good things up here. So this region demands their independence, and it's basically over for China now. A country like Indonesia was actually debating joining this war on the side of the red team, solely because all of Malaysia's troops are up there. But now that Japan is joining this war and India is starting to go back, they're not going to do that because they would probably lose that. Anyway, Pakistan is trying to get a peace treaty right now, but they're not going to get it. India's counteroffensive is going extremely well. They have begun to they actually begun to conscript troops in the last episode. I don't think I mentioned that. But this is definitely helping them out against Pakistan, especially now that China has basically pulled out all of their troops. India also pushes back down into this area, taking over these two cities that they actually held during World War III. India then fully liberates themselves. Pakistan basically just says, yeah, we're. So Pakistan surrenders. China is basically done, even with them pulling troops from North Korea, because that's basically why North Korea joined, was just so they can get more manpower. Because countries love to use North Korea for their extra troops. I'm looking at you, Russia. But that wasn't enough. China is done for, as all of India's army begins to now go into China. Rebellious groups take more and more major cities, and it's really not looking good for China. Yeah, no, it's done for China. They surrendered. But that's going to do it for today's episode. I know it's a little bit of a shorter one, but I'm getting ready for the Badlands series. That's going to be starting here soon. So, yeah, if you guys want merch, let me know, because this is a really nice hoodie. It's really nice quality. Because I can do that if you guys want that ever. It doesn't have to be hoodies too. It can be like shirts, hats, whatever else you guys want. I could do stuff like that. But anyway, make sure you're subscribed. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. And I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Next episode is going to be kind of crazy. We're going to see the peace treaty and the actual end to the war between India, Pakistan, and China. And so, yeah. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.